So, greetings of the day. Today we'll be talking about an important topic of cardiology, and the topic is JVP. This JVP, as you know, this is jugular venous pressure. Jugular venous pressure. So when I talk about jugular venous pressure, the important points with regard to jugular venous pressure, I will be talking about in the context of your venous pulse. First of all, I'll talk about the what are your venous pulses. Venous pulses, important characteristic of venous pulses. Because once I talk about the venous pulses, then only I'll be able to talk about. First of all, the most important portion of your venous pulses are that they are wavy and undulated. Wavy and undulated. Next, they are more laterally. Now they are better felt than than palpated. This is in context to your carotid pulse, where carotid pulse are better palpated than felt. Why they are not better palpated? Because once you put a pressure on these venous pulses, what happens? They get obliterated. Now, the other important aspect about in respect to different things with inspiration. What happens with the inspiration? Inspiration के साथ ये जो jugular venous pressure होता है वो घट जाता है. Whereas अगर patient supine position पे he lies, अगर वो lie करता है supine position में, तो ये jugular venous pressure increase कर जाता है. Whereas on the abdominal, अगर abdominal पे pressure जब आप exert करते हो, then again this JVP gets raised. I'll talk about these things little later, how they are in this context, how they are related to other diseases. But then important point क्या है जो हम यहाँ देख रहे हैं कि inspiration के समय और supine position के समय और pressure लगाने के समय जो आपके venous pulses हैं, particularly in case of JVP, ये क्या करते हैं? They have a change. Whereas carotid में आपको इन सब चीजों में कोई भी change नहीं मिलने वाला है. You do not get any change in cases of carotid. No changes in case of the carotid pulse because they happen to be your arterial pulses. Now, okay, so even they do not get obliterated on the pressure. दूसरा इनका जो impulse होता है, they're strong impulses and they are forceful. Let me say they are forceful. इनका impact, where they are not so forceful, these venous pulses are not. As we know about the veins, one important feature is that they do not have valves. So your JVP, jugular vein, does not have a valve. Now, once we go back into your jugular, so where do you measure jugular? That is measured in right internal jugular vein. Right internal jugular vein, where you are going to put your measure your JVP. Now, how do you do that? The most important thing is you make the patient lie in 30 degree. What is the angle where the patient lies? He lies in the 30 degree, reclining 30 degree. And then this is 30 degree. 30 degree. Then the patient, when they lies, then you have the sternocleidomastoid muscle in the angle of the jaw. And this is particularly done on the right side. This is more convenient because it's more convenient to lie. You have this right internal jugular vein. And when you see this internal, this is sternocleidomastoid muscles, ending sternocleidomastoid muscles, and to this is the angle of the jaw. So this is the point where sternal angle to the important point, because you put a perpendicular line from this sternal angle and to the point where your pulsation are feel better. Supposingly, you have a pulsation here and you have a sternal angle from here. So you put a perpendicular line here, and whatever is the height of it, that is your JVP. So the patient is reclined, and then you see the pulsation, where the pulsation, the highest point of the pulsation is there, and further draw a perpendicular line, and one perpendicular line is taken from the sternal angle, and the point where it is measured. Then normally, I should say normally, you have around 0 to 3 centimeters. It can go as high as 4 centimeters. This is normal JVP. Now, when I find it from the right atrium, this distance is almost 5 centimeters more. So if I'm talking about, from where am I talking about the jugular venous pulse? If it is from the right auricle, then it is, yeah, let me say from the heart, this is 8 centimeters to 9 centimeters is the normal your jugular vein. If I'm talking from the sternal angle, if I'm talking about from the sternal angle, this is 0 to 3 centimeter. यानी कि 0 से 3 centimeter तक sternal angle तक jugular venous pulsation normal होता है. Now, अगर हम jugular venous pulsation की बात करेंगे, तो jugular venous pulsation, और या this is biphasic. This is biphasic. The jugular venous pulsation कैसा होता है? Biphasic होता है. हम यहाँ पर आएंगे, देखिए, you have this is here, this is 1 and this is 2. You have biphasic. Now it has 3 positive waves. The first is your A wave, second is your C wave, and third is your V wave. These are articles and these are ventricle. So when I'm talking about this, I'm taking to be as right. These are your atrioventricular wall. These are the tricuspid walls. So initially, what happens when the atrial is contracting? This atrial is contracting, and this atrial is contracting. Here you have superior vena cava vein, and then from superior you have internal jugular vein. So whenever these pulsations are felt, they are first into the superior vena cava, and then they are felt into the internal jugular vein. So this is right internal jugular vein where your pulsation. So what does JVP predict? It predicts the pressure changes where it is predicting the pressure changes in the right. So what it is doing, it is first of all, JVP measures the pressure changes under the right auricle. Now, when this is what A wave, when the auricles are contracting, your auricles, this auricle is contracting, and you have a pressure. This waves gets reflected and it is felt here. So this is the first wave when your auricles are contracting. So when the auricles are contracting, they are putting a pressure onto your you're putting pressure onto your auricles, and they are being reflected as your A waves. Now, as these auricles are contracting, then what happens about this valves? There will be a phase when this auricle will start to relax. Then when these auricles start to relax, this you have this first descent. This is the first descent where you see auricle having relaxed. So this auricle getting relaxed. Then what happens? You have a contraction of your ventricles. First, when the contraction of ventricle happens, this auricular ventricular walls get bulged up. When they bulged up into where? Into the auricles, atrium, let me say atrium, that get bulged up into the atrium. So this first bulging creates that your C waves. This is C wave. But as this ventricle keeps on contracting, this go back again into the ventricle. Though they are closed, they go back into the ventricle, tip back into the ventricle, and this pressure, sustained release in pressure happens again. For momentary, when they got bulged back into your auricle, that for that moment you had that C wave, and after that, with sustained contraction, you have this mm, mm, your downward deflection. So first people at places they call it X bar and X, or let me say X and X bar will be here. So when you talk about this is basically when they are relaxing, and then you have bulging, and then again you have relaxation. Now, when this ventricle continues to relax, this ventricle continue to contract. This is keeps on contracting. Now, what happens? You have this at this time. I'll make it again. These are the veins where they're entering, they are getting relaxed. So you have drop in pressure here. When this drop in pressure is here, this blood from these veins, great veins, enter here. And then these get enter here. And then again, you have this pooling of the blood. So when you have blood coming from this vein and you have pooling of this blood, then again you have an increase in pressure in the right atrium. And this is where the blood is pooled up, and because of this pooling on and the filling of the right atrium, you have another wave which is known as your you have A, C, and you have your V wave. This is known as your V wave. This is V wave. So you have three waves, A, C, and V. तो ए वेव में तो सीधा सीधा सिंपल सी बात है कि यहाँ पर एट्रिया कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रही थी. एट्रिया जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रही थी तो प्रेशर आ रहा था. तो प्रेशर हमने बताया जुगुलर वीनस वेन, इंटरनल जुगुलर वीनस वेन में आप फील कर रहे थे. Now, so इंटरनल जुगुलर वेन से प्रेशर जब हो रहा था तो